Hey, awesome people. Welcome, Mr. C here. We are back with another fraction video today. Very excited as I have been this entire series. Let's jump into it. If you learn anything new, make sure you click the like and subscribe button as you join us as we continue making math understandable and challenging. Today's video is going to be talking about comparing two fractions. As you can see, here is the Common Core standard right above. We are comparing two fractions with the same numerator. That's really what we're going to focus on today, is comparing two fractions with the same numerator. In another video, I will have denominator and so on and so forth. So today's video talking about comparing two fractions with the same numerator. In the description below, you can see previous videos that we have done. We've talked about making equivalent fractions, what they are, how to make them. We've looked at them, what does it even mean? We've even gone into talking about what fractions are, what's a numerator, what's a denominator. We went all the way back even to second grade. So again, those videos, all in the description below. Check those out if you have not already. Very excited for us today. Thanks for tuning in. Let's get started with comparing two fractions with the same numerator. Well, here we go, boys and girls. We have our two fractions, as you can see on the screen. First thing you need to make sure that you're telling yourself, like I say in every video, make sure you have the correct mindset for this, okay? Make sure you have a growth mindset when we are working on these problems. A growth mindset means that you are okay with a challenge. You are okay with struggling through it. All right, use mistakes to help you get better. Look at your problem, figure out where you're making your mistake, and then fix it. All right, mistakes help us learn. That's what makes our brains actually grow, is making mistakes. So that being said, let's get started. Two fractions here. What we're going to do is we're going to compare to see, which one is larger, which one is a bigger section. So we've got 1/2 in the top, and we've got 1/3. And I'm going to be using this rectangle here, you may say, and I'm going to divide it up into 1/2. All right, so let me choose a color. Let's go with pink. So I'm going to take this rectangle and I'm going to divide it in half. All right, so here it is. My rectangle, I divided in half. My numerator here tells me how many sections to color in, so I'm going to color in one section. Let me do that. All right, so I colored in one section here of this top rectangle. Now this rectangle down here at the bottom, what is this fraction? Does anybody know what this fraction is called? Hopefully you're like, duh, Mr. C, I've watched all your other videos. I know what that is. That is 1/3 or 1/3. I knew y'all been watching. Thanks for tuning in. So break this up into 3 sections. That's what our denominator says. So let's see how I do here. Here is one section. That first one's a little bit too big. Give me another shot at it here. There we go. There we go. All right, so I've got 1, 2, 3 sections. The numerator tells me how many to color in. That's 1. So let's color in one section. I'm still working on staying in the lines, so give me a break if I'm not in the lines. Thank you. So now let's look at these two fractions. And before you even answer or figure out anything, just ask yourself, what do you notice? All right, what do you notice about these two fractions? That's really the most important thing, is if you can just look at this and kind of notice things about it. That's really important in math, okay? One of the things that I notice is I notice that these sections down here in 1/3 are smaller than this section up here in 1/2. Do you see how this section in 1/2, these sections are bigger pieces? That's because our denominator here, the smaller your denominator is, the bigger the pieces. And that kind of blows your mind a little bit. And watch some of the videos in the description below. But the smaller our denominator is, the bigger the piece would be, okay? Now, before we can actually kind of write out when we compare it, which of these two is bigger? Which of these two fractions has the bigger chunk? And you're probably saying to yourself, Mr. C, come on now, I know this. It's 1/2, right? 1/2 more is colored in this fraction, in this rectangle, than in our rectangle down here. 1/2. Okay, it's a bigger section. So 1/2 would be bigger than 1/3. You can see it, all right? You're getting it. Now, here's the part, though, that I want to do a quick review on. All right, let's talk about how we would actually write this out, okay? Have you ever seen these two symbols before? Have you ever seen either of these two symbols before? You probably have, okay? This symbol here means, I'm going to draw a little arrow here. This means less than. Okay, this symbol here means less than. And this symbol down here means greater than. And the way I kind of always learned it, and the way I kind of help students understand this, the way I want you to think about it is, think about this as like an alligator mouth. The alligator mouth wants to eat whatever's the biggest. Okay, there's a really cool video made by a company called Number. You can search them on YouTube as well. They make an awesome video talking about greater than, less than, equal to, and stuff. So check them out. Number is what it's called. But think about it as an alligator. An alligator mouth wants to eat the bigger chunk. So if we look at our fractions here, y'all already decided that 1/2 was bigger than 1/3. So let me show you how you would write that. We would write 1/2, and is the alligator mouth going to be eating the 1/2, or is the alligator mouth going to be eating the 1/3? Which one? Which one's bigger? The 1/2 is bigger. So the way you would read this is 1/2 is greater than 1/3. Listen to that one more time. 1/2 is greater than 1/3. Okay, so these symbols, you may have seen them before, you may not have, but they're going to be really important. You're going to use them all the way until at least high school. And if you decide to go to college, or if you decide to do trade school and stuff, you may even see it then, but it's really important to understand those two symbols, okay? With that being said, here is our next problem. I've got two rectangles up here again, two different fractions though. All right, I've got 2/3 and I've got 2/4. So try this one on your own, okay? Give it a shot on your own. Feel free to pause the video. Try this one on your own, and then we're going to jump into it. Again, make sure you have a growth mindset. If you struggled on that last one, stick with it. Okay, persevere. Be okay with the struggle. We're going to get you there. So pause the video, then try it with me. Hopefully you pause the video. If not, welcome. You can do it with me right here. I've got 2/3, and I'm going to break this up into whatever my denominator says, and that says 3. So I'm going to break this up into 3 equal sections. So let's see if I can do that. Here's 1 section, 2 sections, 3 sections. My numerator up here at the top tells me how many sections to color in. That's going to be 2. So there's 1 and 2. There we go. All right, so we got 2/3 up here. Now for the fraction at the bottom, let's go with this green color. How many sections do I need for 2/4? I need 4 sections. So let's get 4 sections here. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. My numerator is what? The numerator is 2, so color in 2 sections. Here's 1 section, here's 2 sections, and there we go. So we've got 2/4 represented in the green, we've got 2/3 represented in the orange. And remember, in the previous problem we just did, we are talking about 2 different symbols. We have the symbol that looks like this, and we have the symbol that looks like this. Remember, this means greater than. Draw an arrow over here. This means greater than. And then this one here means less than. So, before we answer this and decide which one is greater than or less than, what do you notice about this or these two fractions? Okay, ask yourself, what do you notice? One, did you set yours up correctly? Did you make a mistake? If so, find that mistake. Figure out where it was. Let's fix it this next time. Second thing, when I'm looking at this, what do you notice about the size of the different equal sections? Do you notice the equal sections in 2/4 and the equal sections in 2/3? What do you notice about their size? You're probably picking up on that. Okay. Now let's compare these two. So let's write them out here. The top fraction was 2/3, and then the bottom fraction was 2/4. Now, another symbol that we could use is we could also use this symbol here. Does anybody know what that symbol there means? You've seen it all the way since really kindergarten. That means equals. Okay, those are really the three symbols you're going to worry about right now. There are more in the future, but right now those are the only three we need to focus on. So, is 2/3 greater than 2/4? Is 2/3 less than 2/4? Or is 2/3 equal to 2/4? Well, if we look at this here, what do you notice? I notice that 2/3 is greater than, there's more in 2/3 than there is in 2/4. Do you see that? 2/4 stops right here. 2/3 stops right here. Notice, do you notice how our rectangles are the same exact size? That's really important. Our rectangles are the same size. It makes it easy for us to compare. So when you're drawing your picture, make sure your rectangle, your square, your your circle, whatever you drew, make sure that they are the same size, because we can only compare things that are the same size. So, is 2/3 greater than, less than, or equal to 2/4? Well, hopefully you are noticing 2/3 is greater than 2/4. All right, 2/3 is greater than 2/4. How'd you do on that one? Where did you make your mistakes? Take a look and see. Pause it. Rewatch this if you need to. Draw yourself another picture. Remember, growth mindset. Stick with it. Let's try another example problem to get you a little bit more practice. All right, ladies and gentlemen, last problem I have for you in this video. Notice I've got two new fractions here, and I've decided to go with a circle this time. So I've drawn two circles. They are the same size. Remember, make sure yours are the same size. That's really important. So, same thing we were doing when we were talking about a rectangle. We're going to draw a model for these two fractions, and then we're going to compare them. Which one is greater? Okay, so let's dig into it. Pause this video and try these on your own, and then follow along with me. Hopefully you tried it on your own. Let's get into it here. We need to take a look at 3/4. We need to break it up into 4 equal sections. So circles are always a lot harder for me, so bear with me as I try to draw these somewhat equally. I know I have some artists that watch these videos, and y'all are awesome. I'm always trying to get better, so thanks for your patience. Here's 3/4. I need to color in 3 of the 4, because that's what the numerator says. So let me color in 3/4. I actually like coloring in the circle one, I think, a little bit better. Probably because it reminds me of, like, pizza. I don't know about y'all, but I sure do like me some pizza. Alright, there we go. Alright, so I colored in 1, 2, 3, 4. I colored in 4 of them, 3/4. Or excuse me, I colored in 3 of the 4. There we go. Alright, now let's look at my fraction down here at the bottom. That fraction is 3/8. So I need to divide this into 8 equal sections. So here I go. This one's going to be a little bit more of a challenge. There's 2 sections. 4 sections, 6 sections, 8 sections? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hey, those aren't too bad. All right. How many am I coloring in? What's my numerator say? My numerator says 3, so let's color in 3. Here's 1. Here is 2. And here is 3. All right, there we go. So remember, we're going to be comparing these two fractions, so take a look at it and see what you are noticing. Don't answer the question yet, just see what you notice. So the first thing, remember I pointed out, is notice that my circles are both the same size, okay? My models are both the same size. That's really important. They're both the same size. Second thing I really want you to notice is that we have divided these into equal pieces as best as we can. Are they perfect? No, but for our sake, they're pretty good. We have each of these sections are equal sizes. Same thing down here in 3/8. Each of these are equal sizes. Now, what are you noticing about the size of the pieces in 3/4 compared to in 3/8? Are you noticing that the pieces in 3/8 are smaller? Do you see how this denominator of 8 makes the pieces smaller? Remember, the bigger your denominator, the smaller the pieces get. The bigger the denominator, the smaller the pieces get. Okay? Now let's jump into it. Let's compare these two fractions. So we have 3/8 and we have 3/4, and we want to compare them. And remember, our symbols that we have is the greater than symbol, the less than symbol, or the equal symbol. There are more. We're only focusing on these 3 symbols. Which of these symbols would make this statement true? Is 3/8 greater than 3/4? Is 3/8 less than 3/4? Or is 3/8 equal to 3/4? Notice when we're looking at our circle here, our model, 3/4 has a lot more shaded in than 3/8, meaning that 3/8 is going to be less than 3/4. Again, the way you read it, 3/8 is less than 3/4. We look at our picture. 3 of these 4 are colored in is a lot more than 3 out of the 8 that's colored in this model down here. So this here, we were comparing fractions that had the same numerator. All right, in this video, we talked about the same numerator. We are going to get into comparing fractions that had the same denominator, but I really think that if you can compare fractions that have different numerators, you're going to be able to do same numerators, you're going to be able to do fractions that have same denominators. So remember, be okay with the struggle, be okay with the challenge, stick with it, keep persevering. Thanks for tuning into this video. If you learned anything new, make sure you click the like and subscribe button. You can reach out to me on Instagram, Twitter, or my email. It is all at the end of this video and in the description below. Thank you for tuning in as we continue our journey of making math understandable and challenging. That's all I have for you today. Mr. C, out.